Hello and welcome to this week's Garage Lecture. This is an introduction to Chapter 10 in your textbook, which is listed as the International Defense Profile. And in regards to that, I'm wearing my hard hat because this is, in effect, what we used to call the industrial military complex. How industry and the military work together to develop things that we find useful in our lives. Now, the military, because of their work in trying to find new weapons and ways to counteract weapons that other countries devise, they've come up with a whole series of developments that have been important to our civilization. I've listed a few of them out. For example, because of the military, we have semiconductors. And of course, with semiconductors, we're able to have computers, iPhones, iPods, iPads, any other kind of you want to have. Semiconductors have made us more efficient, and those were developed for the military using industry. The other thing that we have is the internet. The internet was originally developed by the military as a way to communicate. And, now it's gone viral and everyone has access to the internet. Numerical controlled machines. If you haven't worked out in manufacturing, you may not be familiar with what an NC machine is. An NC machine is a tool cutting machine that runs off of a numeric control. They program these machines and they create things. So a lot of the plastic prototypes that we have for parts of cars are made on NC machines, and there's a whole area of skill that people can have. If you get trained to use an NC machine, you're usually pretty employable. But those came up with were devised to be used for the military. Video conferencing. I have to tell you, I've worked for over 15 years, 16 years actually now, in the area of video conferencing. And every time I've gone to a meeting with other colleges and universities and industry and the military, I am just amazed at the advances the military is making in video conferencing. They're light years ahead of us. We used to use what's called ISDN lines to video conference. Those were actual telephone lines, and you had to have multiple lines, and you had to be hardwired. When I was at Hutch, we did ITV classes to several sites, and those sites had to be hardwired. Well, video conferencing has gone from using ISDN lines to using the internet. The military was using the internet for video conferencing long before we were, and they were secure and still are secure. They're able to have meetings with generals in Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, wherever they might be, and the president and other people from the Pentagon on secure video conferencing lines. They're light years ahead of what colleges and universities are using. Battery improvements. The batteries that we have today have long replaced those early batteries that we had. You now have small button batteries that will power devices because they don't draw as much energy because they use semiconductors and chips. So batteries, we've just seen tremendous improvement in batteries because of the military. And the last one, thermal imaging. This has just been a very significant development. The military developed it so they could see soldiers out on the battlefield. Well, it's now used in medicine to locate cancers and other problems with people. The police use it now to see who might be in a building. Fire departments use it so they can tell where the hot spot of a fire is. All of these developments and many, many more came because the military had a need, and working with civilian companies, they were able to meet that need, and we become the benefits of that. Now, there's one other thing. remote controls. This one here controls my Cox cable box. This one here controls my Blu-ray. This one here records controls my television. And this one controls my sound system. Now, of course, I have them all programmed, so I can use just one remote. But we wouldn't have these remotes if it weren't for the military. The military had needs to be able to do things remotely. So because of that, no longer do I have to say to my daughter, Christina, would you change the channel for me? She's happy. Of course, she doesn't live with me anymore. She has children of her own. They will never hear their mother or father say, Connor, would you change the channel? Now the most you hear around a family is, where in the heck's the remote? Without the remotes, frankly, without the remote, I don't think I can turn my television on. I don't think I can turn my sound system on. So these are just some of the technological developments that have come out of the military. And they were developed between the military and industry. This lesson will focus on that kind of technology that's been developed. So read chapter 10, post, and I would suggest when you go out and look for DIGO postings, find ones that relate to the military if you can, and share those with each other. And until next week, this is Larry saying, have a safe week. Don't blame the military for too many bad things. They do enough bad things, but they've done some good things for us. They've given us some technology. See you next week.